So this is such a powerful film about like really, really important right now. I'm sure you didn't start making it like last year. Came out last year actually. So when and why you decided to make this film?
Well, I started thinking about this subject matter 10 years ago. I was traveling through Arizona, and back then they were starting to promote strong anti-immigration laws in Arizona, so there was a very strong rhetoric of hatred towards migrants, foreigners, Mexicans going on. So I decided I wanted to make a movie that talked about this, about where hatred as a society can lead us to. And it wasn't until a couple years later that I thought it'd be interesting to approach the subject matter, but through a genre film, you know, a film that would engage the audience and keep them glued to their seats. Because not only with that way could I reach a wider audience, an audience that maybe doesn't care about the subject matter but will engage with it how they engage with Friday 13 or Freddy Krueger, you know, but also because the connection you make with that audience is a very visceral one, and sometimes I feel with the subject matter it's important to start connecting stronger with your emotions and stop debating so much about it.
How about you? Like this subject is really you care, and also just like he said, the way the storytelling is very, very unique. So as an actor, is it challenging? What did you think about the script when you read?
Yeah, it was a challenge all throughout, and I had the fortune of, before having done a few films related to the subject, and most of them were documentaries. So this was an opportunity to do like not even a fiction, but like a metafiction. You know, like reaching a moment, a very particular moment where we understand the point of departure of the characters. We just have to show that moment, of crossing the border, that moment where the character is going back home, and this is what excited me as well. It was a very elemental, you know, place to depart. You know. And it is more in the nature of films from, let's say, action films from the 70s or early 80s, where there was an issue at hand, but it was all told through action, through cinema. That's a very interesting thing. I mean, it is in the desert. There's no place to hide. So how do you do a film about that? You know.
You made a film with your father, Gravity. So when you're making this film, did you talk to him a lot, or did he give you any comments?
Well, actually, the process is interesting. I wrote a first draft of Desierto about 8 years ago, and I showed it to my dad so that he would give me notes, you know, like his advice. And instead of giving me any notes, he read the script and he turned to me and he was like, "Oh, I really enjoy this concept. I'd like to do something like that." So we started talking and we decided to adapt this concept to space. So in a way, Desierto, Gravity arises from Desierto. And you know, and the process of working in Gravity was very helpful in like learning from my dad like certain techniques to maintain the tension and the rhythm.
I mean, I know the Mexican director trusted each other so much, and they show the film each other and then tell them this is not good ending or something. Did he tell you about anything after you finished the film? What was his reaction to the film?
No, I mean, I showed it to him at different stages, and I also showed it to many other filmmakers. I was lucky to have the input of various filmmakers I admire. And obviously, you know, there were different notes. I mean, the main one I can remember is both my dad and my uncle. When I showed them the script, they told me, "Oh, you're planning to film with a dog. Try to get rid of it." But to me, it was important to use the dog because I knew it was kind of like the shark in Jaws. It's one of the most terrifying things in the film. And also because I knew it was the only way to get a human side of Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. You know, the dog is the only connection he has. So in that sense, you know, with all the notes from like my dad and all the directors throughout the process, one listens and sometimes you agree and sometimes you disagree.
What was the most challenging part? Because the entire film is very, very intense. So it must be, I don't know, what was the difficult part for both of you?
The most difficult part is doing a good movie, no? It's like everything that goes around, you know, the decisions, and I mean, it is difficult to make a decision to shoot that place or that place. You know, there was always a kind of a difficulty about it. But once you start doing it, well, it naturally starts to take shape, and the characters come alive, the monsters come alive as well. The world is being built, and that's the only way you can do it. So it might be difficult, the perspective of it, but once you're doing it well, you just go for it. And sometimes you hit a good note, and sometimes you don't. I mean, and it's part of the. I mean, in this film, I think we managed to say something very deep within us.
But I guess like a very simple thing, you know, the only few characters here. So especially you're very emotionally challenging, at the same time physically challenging. Is there any specific scene you kind of have to do it again and again, or you remember some? Can you share some like anecdote behind the scene?
Yeah, well, the whole sequence of like the final persecution, that was a very difficult scene to do because we shot a lot, and you know, to narrow down. I mean, this if in the mythology there is a labyrinth, well, there's a point where you have to feel that you're getting closer to the center, no? How do you shoot that? How do you work around that? And that is you start to reach a very delicate part where it is very complicated, and I guess you just have to go for it and trust the instincts, but at the same time you know, like think about it thoroughly.
Yo le dije que se lo iba a traer de vuelta sano y salvo.
Welcome to the land of the free.
ノーエスケープ、自由への国